Listen, we read this paragraph in here about these, quotes, coronal discharges that you guys were seeing, and that completely stops us. Tell us how this came about, and who talked to you about it, and what you saw.
Somebody reported it on one of the earlier flights that some guy up, I got the letter, paperwork somewhere, they shipped it down to me at the Cape about two things where the VHF radio noises, which could be discharges from someplace in space, and the other one were, I thought it was on Neil's flight, we got airport is seeing flashes in a spacecraft at night with their eyes closed. Or no, they noticed them when they were awake at night, the spacecraft was dark, and they thought they were in a spacecraft. But whoever this guy was said, no, that's a perfectly known phenomenon. You can get discharge across your eye from gamma rays or something. So they had a bunch of things. Would we close our eyes and face the moon, when we were orbiting it, because it would be more, you'd get less discharges facing the moon than away from it. But you don't have to be anywhere near the moon or anywhere. The first night out, bing, bing. And if you keep your eyes closed and you're awake down there and it's dark and you think about it, when it happens, you can figure out, you can pin down that it's one eye. It's not a discharge that you see in both eyes. You really see it with one eye or the other eye, and you can see what kind it is. We had two kinds. I guess the particle either strikes the eyeball perpendicular or it discharges parallel. And we get either a flash like that or we get a streak. And I feel that I noticed. I either got a flash or a streak. And I, for some reason, got it more with my left eye than my right eye, but I could tell which eye it was when I was concentrating on it. I'm trying to tell you the reason he did it because where he slept was always on the left side of the spacecraft. And that stuff kept whistling across there, and I saw all the right ones in my eye.
Yeah.
I remember symmetrical. I split down
They should have protected you, Dick. They should have picked them all up.
I may surprise you didn't hear about this because we were asked to specifically experiment with this type of thing.
There's 2 pages in the flight plan, the water. We didn't bother because we were seeing it every time we saw it.
There's a paper right now on this very exact thing, the 2 phenomena that came out of 11. Buzz and Neil talked about this.
I remember their conversation about it.
Sure. They thought it was something, penetrating the spacecraft. What Pete described is the exact phenomenon that all 3 of us saw. You see a light, just a flash out there, or sometimes it'd be a streak. And I saw them in both eyes, either eye, and I can't remember if there was one that was more predominant than the other. But I agree with Pete, it's a phenomenon that you're not seeing with both eyes. It's not something external to you, it's something that's
Inside.
coming across with that one eye.
Apparently they know about it.
Yeah.
It's a completely known phenomenon.
Well, we've been looking for cosmic rays, cosmic ray strikes, and heavy particles, heavy nuclei that go through. We started at clear back in Mercury, taking photographs of the retina to see if you could see streaks across the retina and stuff. We never could find any in there, and so we stopped that up early in by the end of the.
Your eye is the fastest healer on your body, and if it's doing anything, you're never going to see it. By the time you get a guy back, the only way you're ever going to see it is if you photograph it right after a particle went by.
Well, probably what it's doing anyway is probably hitting just a single cell, and yeah, that's all it'd have to do, particularly make this flash. You hit a single cell.
I saw one night, I was looking at the MVP, a handrail up above, and one ran right along, I don't know where it went, it appeared, right straight along that handrail for about that distance. And I just had to be looking at that. And you could almost see him at will.
That's right. You just lie there.
You close your eyes. What if they don't want to see one? You open one eye and you have to already see it.
You didn't believe it at first. We saw it the first night. And I know that I said, hey, I've been sitting spring loaded from that, what we heard. I had Steve see him and got playing in the season, and they said, remember the mission, you wake up at night and you say, well, I think I ought to see something. You can close your eyes on the phases become about 1 minute.
Let me ask you one more question about heart. Oh, here.
Were these random distribution of these, or did they seem to be fairly horizontal?
Okay. Were these things random, or did they all seem to be in one direction? Like, were they always horizontal, or were they at random? They could be at any kind of angle.
The streets I saw were mine. The ones I saw were horizontal.
I was going to say, that's interesting. Mine, it seemed to me I had the impression that they were always roughly in the same place, and mine were horizontal. The horizontal streets were always, if I knew where I was looking, it always seemed like the horizontal street was a little bit above the center. And it always seemed to me it went from right to left, no matter which eye it was in. The discharges were more towards the center, and it would be just like a pinpoint of light went and closed again.
Like somebody was flashing a light at you.
That's right. Generally not too big a light at you. Yeah, it wouldn't fill your eye. Very small dot.
Yeah.
Just a like a camera lens.
Is that about the same for both of you? Is that the same reaction you had, Dick and Al, the way Pete described it?
What's that? Mine were
Just
running about 30 degrees or horizontal, but they were coming. I didn't notice them from the right or left.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. But about the same, they seem to appear about the same place. No?
The horizontal ones that I saw were generally above eye level.
Same
like
way,
the NBC
yeah.
was generally high. Now I don't know, I can't exclude any other, I can't remember, I just don't remember any of them being down on the lower part of the vision.
Well, you see, Dick's telling you about seeing him with his eyes open and other things that he centered his eye on, the lights on the instrument panel. Well, I used to notice them the most when I was down there in that sleeping bag. It was pitch black down there in the hole, and it wouldn't make any difference whether my eyes were open or closed. And I could lay there I used to kill time that way, say for a half an hour, and either open them or close them and wait, and sure enough, after a while, you'd get one. And then I'd sit there for a while and say, okay, was it in the left eye or the right eye? It'd take you a while to sort it out. But you could usually figure out which eye it was in. Now you know what you do when you're supposed to be sleeping.
Yeah. There was a comment that